It's working. Hello. It's working. Yeah. I'm trying YouTube today instead of Twitch. Hello, faithful viewers. How's everything going? Almost done with week 1 of distance learning. No one's here commenting or asking questions. Hello. You're on your sister's account. Enzo, you know you can like log in your own account, right? There's like a log out and log in button, but it's cool. I'll teach Gianna. Okay. Hello, Dana. What's up? All right, Ari, Tom Brady going to the Bucks. How you feeling right now? Okay. How's GB2? He's fine. He's eating right now. Took a bath last night. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I agree. Like, I don't know. Like, Tampa Bay sucks, but we'll see. Okay, so you guys wanted to ask about 1A and then the second part of 2A. Okay, so 1A, 2A, second part. All right, so let's take a look. This is on the 2012 BC test. Okay, so we'll take a look at what's going on here. Let me pull up the question. Oops. Okay. So we'll begin with 1A on the 2012. So it asks you to estimate W prime of 12. Now they don't give you any information about 12 in the table, but the table goes like 0, 4, 9, 15, 20. Hold on, this is like bad office hours music. Okay. All right. So what's going on here? Okay. Yeah, calm down. We'll get to 3B eventually. Okay. So W prime at 12. Like 12 is not in the table, but what you're going to do is just find the slope between not those two, the 2 points on either side of it. So like 12 is halfway between 9 and 15, which is 61.8, 67.9. So that means that if you have to estimate the slope there, it's just 67.9 minus 61.8 over 15 minus 9. Like, you just find the slope between those 2 points. Okay. So a couple of you guys asked about 2A. So 2A. Oh, also, I guess we should actually finish answering this question. It asks about interpret the meaning in terms of the context of the problem, include units. So the units here are just the units on top over the units on bottom. So that's like degrees Fahrenheit per minute. In terms of interpreting, it's a derivative, so it's a rate of change. So this is like the rate of change of, no, it's fine, it doesn't make you look stupid. This is the rate of the change of the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit per minute at T equals 12. That's what it's approximating. Okay, so how do you interpret 1B? So, Max, the way I'd interpret 1B is when you integrate W prime, you're going from 0 to 20. I just use the fundamental theorem, so it's like W20 minus W0, and that should help with your interpretation. Because W20 is just like the temperature times 20, and this is the temperature times 0, so this is like just the change in temperature. You integrated the rate, so it's the change in temperature from T equals 0 to T equals 20. That's how I would think about interpreting that one. Okay. Let's go, what was the next one? 2A. A couple people asked about 2A. Alright, So find the slope of the path. So the slope of the path in this, in 2a, anytime you're doing the slope of the path, that's basically, Max, that's what I did, is the change in temperature from 0 to 20 in degrees Fahrenheit. That's your interpretation. Like that's what they're looking for. So when you find the slope of the path, remember all that's really talking about is the slope of the path is like the slope of the tangent line. So the slope of the tangent line is dy dx. You don't have dy dx, you don't have y in terms of x. The problem gives you dy dt over dx dt. So you want to interpret it in that way and say, okay, I'm finding like sine squared t divided by rad t plus 2 over e to the t. And then you just need to plug in that time value, which I think is 2. So that's how you'll find the slope in the second part. Okay. Max, did I answer your question on 1? Do you guys have other issues on 2? Yeah, problem 2 is all parametric, the whole thing. Yeah. Because you have like, you know, they give you this kind of vector thing where you have x and y both in terms of t, and that's how you know it's parametric. Gotta go back to what Big Daddy Mansfield taught you. Okay, I am sitting there. Hello, I'm sitting down. You asked about 3b g double prime. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so what you have in 3. Wait, what? You don't? Yeah, you don't need to be in parametric mode on your calculator. I don't think you really ever be in parametric mode, honestly. You explain B because I'm bad parametric. Sure. So we'll do 2B, and then we'll get to 3B in a sec. So I have a question there. Okay. Yeah, so 3B, they give you the D, or 2B, they give you the dx dt, which is the root t plus 2 over e to the t. And they give you this initial condition that at t equals 2. Oh, geez, that's not what I... Okay, so at t equals 2, the position is 1, 5. Yeah, so in this problem, they ask for the x-coordinate of the position at time 4. So you're trying to find the x at t equals 4. This is a fundamental theorem problem. They give you the rate of change in x, that's the dx dt. They give you this initial condition right here, this like x of 2 is equal to 1. That's kind of how you want to interpret this condition right here. Obviously the y would be 5. So if you're trying to find x of 4 minus x of 2 is integral 2 to 4 of the dx dt that was given to you. And then obviously you'll plug in your calculator, but that's the setup here. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying the music. Well, this will be Pink Floyd day to day on office hours. Maybe we'll switch it later, but we'll chill for now with this. Yeah, Wesley's a big Pink Floyd fan, so maybe he'll stop by later. We'll find out. He's eating right now. Yeah, that's FTC. Okay. Someone asked about 3B. We'll take a look at that. Obviously, I can come back later. So 3B, no problem. 3B, they give you this graph of f. So here's a graph of f where it looks like this. You go and then do. This is a graph of f. And then they tell you that g of x is equal to, can I play 5 seconds of song? I don't have any 5 seconds of summer, sorry. Oh yeah, you gotta know if g double prime is allowed or not. Yeah, so let's talk about that though. So g double for g prime is the integral from 1 to x of f. So if you take the derivative of this, the derivative and the integral cancel, you plug in the x as ft dt. So g prime of x is just f of x. So that's this graph of f. This is a graph of g prime. So if you go second derivative, g double prime is f prime of x. This is a bad place for the 1. Okay, so when you interpret that, when the problem asks to find like g double prime of -3, you should think of that as the slope of f at x equals 3, or -3. Yeah. Hello. Yeah, maybe we'll get some rush on later. We could do that. Okay, so -3 anyway is on like this section of the graph. So you just find the slope of that section of the graph. So on that section of the graph, it goes up 2 over 2. So that slope there is 2 over 2, or 1. If I ask for the slope of one of the corner points, so for example, if I ask for like g double prime of 1, like at this point right here, that would be undefined. We have that sharp corner there. But because I asked for a point along the line segment, we can find the slope there. The point doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. The point is irrelevant. So when you're at that point is like, -3, 2. It's halfway in the middle of the line, so it's a 2. That the height of the graph would be f, or your g prime. But the slope is the second derivative there. Okay, may you explain 3c? Sure, Ruth. So 3c says find the x-coordinate of each point at which the graph of g has a horizontal tangent line. Let's break it down at that point. Okay, so if we have, this is 3c, if we have a horizontal tangent, that means a horizontal tangent g means that g prime is equal to 0. Just think about what a horizontal tangent means. It means your first derivative is 0. So what does g prime means? G prime is f. So it's saying where does f equal 0? I see 2 points on my graph where f equals 0. I'm going to highlight these in blue right here. We have the point at -1 and we have the point at +1. That's where I have a height of 0 on my graph of f. Okay. So that happens at x equals -1 and x equals 1. Be nice, guys. So those are the 2 points where we have a height of 0. So this is, when f is 0, it's saying that's the height of f is 0. Okay, so now the question asks, are they a min, a max, or neither? And the way we do that is we look at the first derivative test, because like if our function goes up and then down, our derivative goes up and then down, that's a max. If your derivative goes down and then up, that's a min. If your derivative doesn't change, it's neither a min nor a max. Okay, so let's see what's happening. On our graph at -1, so at -1, my derivative is above the graph and then below the graph. So make sure you're writing this up carefully and talk about which function. So at x equals -1, my g prime, which again is f of x, goes from a positive to a negative. So if my function is positive and negative, that means it's a local max. At x equals 1, though, we don't see a sign change. My function, or my derivative, is like negative and then 0 and then negative. That's not a min or a max. So we say at x equals 1, g prime doesn't change sign. So neither. Max, calm down. This is Pink Floyd. Do you seriously not know Pink Floyd? What is wrong with you? How are you going to college and you don't know Pink Floyd? This is like one of the greatest songs. Adam, you're indoors. Why are you wearing flip-flops indoors? Good Lord. This is going downhill. No problem. Adam, would you run a marathon in sandals? I feel like someone does that every so often. You should try it. I think that should be like a life goal for you. Okay, so Enzo, I actually have musical taste, so there's no One Direction on my playlist, sorry. Only if I was for it now. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. You're not like a 14-year-old girl, Enzo, so you probably shouldn't listen to One Direction. I run with my legs called shoes. I like how he puts it in quotes. I love how everyone just roasts Adam in the chat every day. Dude, such a homie. Alright, so real talk, guys. How is YouTube compared to Twitch? Is this better? Is this worse? Yeah, so we'll go take a look at 1D and just say. Okay, why do you guys like Twitch better? Like, what do you think makes it better? You can rewind without having to. You can actually comment. Well, or you could make an account on Twitch and then you could comment there. I think the lag is actually because my internet connection is terrible. Smooth running, looks cool. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out. I'll take some feedback. Maybe I'll like run a poll with all my students or something. Figure out what they want. I think there's a way I can like view who's in this. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know who DJ Garage is, obviously, but yeah, it's kind of cool. I can see who's watching. Not bad. Right. Okay, let's do 1D for Gianna here. Pull up my deal. Oh, Dominic, got it. Got it. Okay, so 1D on the BC homework. Okay, yeah, so 1D, they give you this other function W prime. So they say W prime is 0.4 root t times cosine of 0.06 t, and it asks you to find the temperature at t equals 25. Okay, well they told you this model here is valid on the interval from 20 to 25. So that means that I should probably just use the fundamental theorem. If I'm trying to figure out like what is the temperature at time 25, well I know W25 minus W of 20 would be the integral 20 to 25 of this W prime equation. And as for what W20 is, remember that's up in the table at the top of the problem. So at the top of the problem, it tells me that W20 is just equal to 71, so that's what you'll plug in here. Wait, who did Gravel call racist this morning? That's funny. Did Gravel stream on Twitch, or did he use YouTube? Google Meet. Ooh, I gotta try that. That sounds fancy. I don't really want to like see your faces though. I don't know. I mean, I could. How did? Yeah. Google Meet. Okay. Add. That's funny. Okay. What did you like about Google Meet? I don't think I've actually ever done it. We have a faculty meeting in Google Meet tomorrow, though. We'll see how that goes. Google Meet low-key sucks. I lagged so much I got kicked out. That's funny. Alright. Other questions you guys have? I have to call in with my phone to hear audio. That's kind of annoying. Can I kick you guys out? I wonder if there's a way. Hold on. Let me try and kick someone out. No, it doesn't let me. That's kind of a downer. It's okay. It's easier to put in commentary, easier to ask questions. Okay. Yeah. Alright, yeah, we'll take, Dominic, we'll take a look at 4A then. No problem. So this is on the AB homework 4A. Okay, so let's take a look. AB 4A. Okay. Kick Enzo. I don't think I have Cool Water by Marty Robbins. But let me look it up. Yeah, I don't have it, sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem that Dominic asked about 4A. Okay, so what you have here, you have this cylindrical barrel. It has a diameter of 2 feet for the diameter, which of course means that the radius of the barrel is just 1 foot. And it is collecting rainwater, so there's some rain in it up to some level. And what do they tell me here? They tell me the rate of change of the height is modeled by this. So dH dt is negative 1/10 times the square root of h. H is measured in feet and t is measured in seconds. And they tell you it's a cylinder, so the volume is pi r squared h. And they'll always give you that formula. That's not a big deal. Okay, so the next thing in part A says find the rate of change of the volume of water with respect to time. Okay, so part A asks us to find the rate of change of volumes. They asked me to find dV dt when the height is equal to 4. Okay, so the water's filling up, so it's going like that. So there are a couple different ways you can do that. Can you access the stream later? Yeah, Enzo, the entire stream will be saved on YouTube. Just go to the exact same link. That should, yeah, it should stay up indefinitely, I think. So that's one nice thing about YouTube is the streams will disappear after like 2 weeks or something, I think. But YouTube will stay up permanently as long as you have the link. Yeah. Like whatever the link is on Google Classroom will still work. Okay, so find dV dt when h is 4. So they're looking for a rate of change derivative. Yeah, there was one point where I said max instead of min that was wrong on the key, Adam. That was a mistake, I think. Mia actually pointed that out. Yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look then at this rate of change. So we're going to start by taking a derivative. So the derivative of the left side, you remember we have our equation, we take a derivative. Derivative of the left side is dV dt. On the right side, you could do this a couple different ways. I'm going to do the product rule. So I'll leave the pi in front. Yeah, I'm keeping track of extra credit. I have a paper right here. So the derivative of r squared h is r squared times dH dt plus h times 2r dr dt. Okay. Now the beauty of this is as this fills up, as the cylinder fills up with rainwater, that height changes, but the radius is constant. The radius is not changing. So you could have either plugged the radius in right at the start, just plug in 1 there, or you could just recognize, okay, my dr dt is equal to 0. So just put that there, so this whole term just goes to 0. So we end up getting dV dt is pi times r squared, which is 1 squared. And the dH dt is negative 1/10 times square root h. And the problem also tells us that the h value is just 4. So this is really just like negative pi over 10 times root 4. In terms of our units, volume is 3-dimensional, so that would be feet and then cubed per second. So I think the key is taking the derivative on this, using the product rule carefully, but also recognizing that r is not changing. Yeah, Nadine, that's correct. That's correct. So that total distance is just the integral of absolute value velocity, which is indeed the integral of speed. Yeah. Kind of unrelated. Did we beat Cruzy's class in the DE test? All right, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I didn't actually get the data from her. It's kind of hard because like we had someone who didn't take the test, and she had one person I think who was absent too. So I don't know. I'll look into that and try and get back to you. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Peace out, Enzo. Enjoy. Yeah, let's take a look sitting down. So 3D, a point of inflection. The definition of a point of inflection is on your graph of f or whatever, is where you switch concavity from like concave up to concave down. So that's how you want to think of it. A point of inflection is when your second derivative changes sign. So the way you see this on the problem is that g double prime is f prime. So on your graph, that is the slope of f. So it's saying, where does the slope of f change sign? So on the graph of f, you have this graph that looks like this one. So you have this graph that goes like doop, doop, zoop, doop. So you're looking for like, where does this slope change sign? So where does it go from positive to negative slope or negative to positive slope, like that? And I see 3 of these points. I see this one, and that. So those are the x values where you have a point of inflection. How's it going? Did you blow out another outfit? Did he? Oh my god. No problem. Okay. Hey look, I have a cutie pie for you guys.
Daily.
Hey Wesley.
Cuteness.
What? Sorry.
To brighten your day.
Take a look, guys. He has a math shirt. Do you want to talk to the people on the stream, Wesley? Love the math shirt. Sorry you pooped through your Seahawks shirt. That's okay.
It wasn't even a big poop, it just went up your back.
Yeah, that's alright. Wesley, do you have any advice for them? They're doing calculus right now. Okay, well you'll do calculus soon. See you later, buddy. You wanna wave? Bye, guys. See you later. Have fun with your mom. He hates the Hawks. To be fair, Adam, the kid has pooped through 4 outfits in the last 3 days, so it's not just a Hawk thing. He's pooped every shirt. It doesn't matter. The kid's out of control. I don't know what his problem is. He's an avid pooper. We just sized up in diapers, so I don't even understand. I don't understand. Maybe we're putting him on wrong. It's possible. Maybe he doesn't like shirts. That's true. If he was naked, he actually would not poop on shirts. So, yeah. Now he's upset. He misses you guys. He wasn't on the stream. University of Chicago is here to help. Size back down. Yeah, that's a good point. If the bigger diaper can't contain his poop, the smaller one definitely will. That sounds good to me. Okay. Other questions, guys? Anything else that you guys are having issues with right now? I don't have Cool Water by Marty Robb. Jesus Christ, we'll look this up on YouTube. I don't even know if I know what that song is. YouTube. Cool Water by Marty Robbins. Okay, can you hear Cool Water by Marty Robbins? I don't get it. Well, where did he find this song? Is there like a deeper meaning here? When did this come out? This looks so old. Cool Water. This song came out in 1936. It is about a man and his mule. How do you even hear about this? Is this in a movie or something? It was in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which I don't think anyone actually saw. Okay. Let's see how the stocks are doing today. Okay. Not much change. Alright guys, any other questions? Office hours, other calculus issues? Just general issues? I could try and help you with another class, I guess, but no guarantees how that's going to go. Where'd he go? Oh. Are we putting the diapers on wrong or something? I don't even know. Do you have to memorize the parametric formulas? What do you mean by the parametric formulas? So, I mean, I guess, yeah, the parametric formulas that, like, you should know, we can talk about those. So, like, parametric formulas. Okay. So, like, I mean, you should know that slope is dy dt over dx dt. You should know that your velocity vector is like the derivative position. There's like a dx dt and a dy dt. You should know the acceleration vector. Oops. You should know the acceleration vector is d squared x dt squared, d squared y dt squared. I mean, you should know the FTC, but I don't even think that's anything. Yeah, you should know that speed is the square root of dx dt squared plus dy dt squared. But again, like, I wouldn't memorize that. I just think of it logically, right? Because if you think about it, it's like, you know, if you're going 40 miles per hour in the x direction and you're going 30 miles per hour in the y direction, it makes sense that you have a total overall speed of 50, right? Just thinking about, like, I go here 40, here 30, the overall speed is in this direction. And then the length of the curve, also known as like your distance traveled, is the integral of speed, just like it is in regular parametric, regular mode. So the only difference is you have a different speed equation there. Okay, so those are, I think, the only ones you should do. Yeah, hello, I'm sitting down. I put something about that on the website today. On the daily survey, I put a note. All you need to do is put a file, a picture file, in your same folder with the same name. And let me know if that doesn't have issues, but check the guide. I even put a picture online. That should be helpful. Okay. Yeah, it's just a bad P. Yeah, Dominic, we'll take a look at 6C on the AB homework. No problem there. Where are we going? Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is actually a good one, Dominic. So, I see what you're saying. Change from plain to flag or number? Well, you need to actually make a different class. So every class can only have one picture associated with it. So when you have a space, what you're going to do, when you turn it into a flag, you're going to actually remove that from the grid. You're going to create a new flag. And then you're going to put the flag in the grid. Every object can only have one picture that goes with it. That's how you want to think about it. So your flag is going to have a different picture. You remove the space, you get a flag. Yeah, there's no way to change the picture. You can only have one picture that goes with each type of object. Okay, cool. So let's go back and do 6C, Dominic. This is actually a really good problem. Yeah, exactly. Just, do like, you'll call put self in grid on the new object after you create it. Okay, so what this says in 6C is h of x equals x squared minus 4 over 1 minus f of x cubed. It is known that limit x goes to 2 of h of x can be evaluated using at f prime. Sorry, or using, what was I going to say? Using L'Hopital's. No, I don't think you need to do that in the driver. You'll probably do it in your space class. So this will happen, this will happen inside your like mark as flag method in your space class. That should work fine. And you'll just remove that current object from the grid and then add the new one to the grid. Okay. So it says, anyway, Dominic, I'm sorry for the distraction. It says that we can do this limit using L'Hopital. So if I can do this limit using L'Hopital, what that means is the bottom is equal to 0. So that means 1 minus f of x cubed equals 0. The bottom equals 0 as you take that limit as x goes to 2. So what that means is that 1 minus f of 2 cubed is 0. So that means that 1 equals f of 2 cubed. And cube root of each side, so that tells you f of 2 is equal to 1. So that gives you f of 2. But the tricky part is now we have to do f prime of 2 as well. Okay, so let's actually use L'Hopital's rule. So when we use L'Hopital, this becomes a limit as x goes to 2 of 2x over. And then when you take the derivative on the bottom, you get 3 times f of x squared by the chain rule times f prime of x. So that's how L'Hopital's rule works. Hold on a sec. Okay, so then what do we do from here? How does this help us here? Okay, so now this is pretty wild, because now this tells you when you take this limit, like this limit is equal to 4 over 3 times f of 2 squared times f prime 2. So that's what the limit is equal to. What we also know in this problem is, because it goes to that tangent line, you know that h of 2 is equal to 4. Okay, so if h of 2 is equal to 4, and again that's from the tangent line, and you know this function is differentiable, you know it exists, so you know that 4 equals this limit, because the limit has to equal the value of h because it's a continuous function. Okay, so 4 has to equal 4 over 3 times f of 2 squared times f prime of 2. Okay, so I'll multiply to the other side, so I get 12 times f of 2, we know is 1, because we found that right here. 12 times 1 squared times f prime of 2 is equal to 4. So that tells me f prime of 2 should equal 1/3. That's like a pretty wacky problem there. Yeah, that one's pretty tricky for sure. This, by the way, people did horrendous on this problem last year. I think it was one of the lowest scoring ones I've ever seen. Okay, any other calc questions, other kinds of questions, guys? Things I can help with? Oh my god, this coronavirus is getting legit. Where did the 12 come from? Oh yeah, Dana, so what I did on this problem is I just cross multiplied. So I just said like, hey, let's just multiply both sides by that and put this over 1 and then multiply like that. Yeah, sure. So let's take a look at 6a. Okay. Sorry, I lost my place on the FRQs. Okay, so 6a on the AB homework asks you to find h prime at 2. So what they tell you is that y equals 4 plus 2/3 times x minus 2 is tangent to h and g, but that's irrelevant for part A. So when you want to find h prime at 2, h prime at 2 is the slope of the line tangent to h. Like, that's just the definition of a derivative, right? It's the slope of the line tangent to h. So that means if you have the tangent of the line, the slope is just right there. So the slope is just 2/3. Like, that's how you want to address that problem. Does that make sense, Grace? Yeah, let's take a 4b. Okay. So 4b tells you this. No problem. dh dt is negative 1/10 square root h. And then it says, so this is the rate of change of the height. So it says, is the rate of change of the height increasing or decreasing at t when the height is 3? Okay, so if I ask you this, let's just go back to a generic question. If I ask you, is f increasing or decreasing? How do we do that, right? Well, we take f prime and see, is f prime positive or negative? So in this question I'm asking, is the rate of change of the height increasing or decreasing? So they're actually asking you, is dh dt increasing or decreasing? Okay, so here's how you want to address that problem. You're going to take the derivative of dh dt, because they're asking, is that rate itself increasing or decreasing? So if dh dt is equal to negative 1/10, when you take a derivative, you're actually going to get a second derivative. So you're going to get the second derivative, v squared h dt squared, is negative 1/10. Okay, so this is h to the 1/2, so that's times 1/2 h to the negative 1/2 times dh dt. So we do need to apply the chain rule on that inside that h. Okay, so that's going to be negative 1/20 times 1 over root h. And then the dh dt is also negative 1/20 times root h. Oh, that is cute. That is so cute. Look at that. Okay, so then what happens there, the root h's cancel, so I just got 1 over 400. So to answer this question, this is positive. So the derivative of the rate is positive, so that means that the rate is increasing. Really cute problem there, really cute problem. Jessica, we just did 6C literally like 5 minutes ago. Go back in the video a couple minutes and you'll be able to see that quickly. Let's take a look then at, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, that's a good point. 20 times 10 actually is 1 over 200. Outstanding. I'll give you that extra credit. Good catch, Dominic. And let me know if you still have questions, Jessica. Okay, there's some extra credit. I'm just keeping track on a new paper here. Okay, so let's take a look at 6D. And again, if you guys didn't get 6D, I don't want you to freak out about it. It's really dumb. It's one of those problems every couple years where they're just like, we're going to give you something absurd. And I'm guessing almost no one around the country got it, and that's okay. So what they tell you in 6D is that g of x is less than or equal to h of x on the interval from 1 to 3. And then tell you that k is squeezed in between them. So g of x is less than or equal to k of x is less than or equal to h of x. And they ask you, is k continuous at x equals 2? Okay, so here's the general thought on this. what is the definition of continuity? Let's go back to that. So the definition of continuity is, we're asking, is k of 2 equal to the limit as x approaches 2 of k of 2, or of k of x? Okay, so let's use this formula right here. So this formula right here, in terms of this inequality, kind of the only thing we know about k, is that we know that g of k is sandwiched between g and h. So we know that g of 2 is less than or equal to k of 2 is less than or equal to h of 2. Okay, and we also know that those are both 4. So from the problem, we know 4 is less than or equal to k of 2 is less than or equal to 4. Okay, so this is what's called kind of the squeeze theorem. If you are less than or equal to 2, or sorry, less than or equal to 4 and greater than or equal to 4, don't you have to be exactly equal to 4? Like if you're squeezed between two things with the same value, you have to have that value. And this is true with a limit, it's true with a function. So we know that k of 2 must also equal 4. Nothing else can be bigger and less than or equal to 4. Okay, we'll do the same thing with the limit. So we also know that the limit as x goes to 2 of g of x is less than or equal to the limit as x goes to 2 of k of x, which is less than or equal to the limit as x goes to 2 of h of x. Okay, and you know by the fact that these are differentiable. So g and h are differentiable. So if I take the limit as x goes to 2 of g, that's equal to g of 2, which is still equal to 4. So that means we can kind of put a 4 in for both of those as well. Same thing's true with h. So it's saying, again, that 4 is less than or equal to the limit x goes to 2 of k is less than or equal to 4. Okay, so by the same logic, if we take the limit x goes to 2 of k of x, that should give you 4. So the value of the function is equal to the limit of the function, so it is continuous. Again, not super important, but I think the logical part of the squeeze theorem should hopefully make sense. That like, if you are sandwiched between two values that are equal to each other, you have to have that value, right? If I tell you you have at least $10 and you have at most $10, you have to have $10. There's no other option. And that's kind of what's going on with this squeeze or this sandwich theorem right here. Again, not like a super important thing to know. Any other questions, guys? Things I can help with here? Any other questions you guys have? Anything else not making sense? We're just jamming out to Pink Floyd, hanging out. Any questions about what's coming up? What to expect the next couple weeks? I have no idea after spring break. Hopefully we're not doing this anymore. It'd be a complete disaster. Are we going to go back to school at all? I mean, I don't know. I have just as much information on that as you guys do. They keep us totally in the dark. Like, we didn't find out school was canceled until you guys did. I obviously wish we'd had more, like, headway about that, but that's okay. I honestly have no idea. I mean, ideally we go back after spring break, but I have no clue. No clue. The math models on this are not good. It's not looking good. People are not really, like, segregating themselves as much as they should. Like, really, pretty much everyone should be at home right now, but, like, I see cars driving around all the time, and, yeah, not good, not good. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm optimistic, but no idea. No idea. I mean, College Board's talking about a take-home AP test, which would just be one of the dumbest schools I've ever seen. Or dumbest ideas I've ever seen. What happens if school does get canceled? Yeah, Kim, I have no idea. No clue. They haven't talked to us. They have no long-term plan. Yeah. I mean, you gotta just guess, right? That, like you take your AP test at home. I want to say by summer things will be better. If we all stay home, will that give a better chance? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because that's what's going to happen, right? So in terms of, like, what you're investigating is, in 4 weeks, what does the coronavirus situation look like in our city, in our community, and maybe the bigger county? And if everyone stays home right now, that limits like this transitional period and transmission. Like, realistically, if every single person in Santa Clarita stayed home for the next 4 weeks, the virus would disappear. No one would get coronavirus. It would all just be gone. Everyone who had it would be sick. Their families would have gotten sick, but everyone would be over it. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that, Adam, because, like, you mingle. If you keep mingling, like, you share it with your friend, and then 2 weeks later they share it with their friend, who 2 weeks later shares it with their friend, and so on. So it keeps, like, perpetuating this chain down the line. Yeah, J-Dog, what goes in your 2 class? That's up to you. I mean, you're going to want to add more features, but inside your 2, the main things you need to have are like a swipe left, a swipe right, a swipe up, and a swipe down. I also made, like, individual methods to have that individual tile move left, right, up, and down too. You know, you're going to need more methods. You're going to need to figure these methods out over time. You're going to be like, okay, well, I'm trying to swipe everything to left, so I need to add additional methods, right? I need to have, like, a move 1 tile at a time left. And then I'm going to need to add another method for combine. So you'll figure that out over time. I think the best way is just to approach it naturally and just think, like, okay, I'm just going to start by swiping everything left. Okay, now what other methods do I need to write? Okay, well, now I'm going to combine, so how do I do that? I think that's probably the best way to do it. Okay, what were some of the other questions? Yeah, no problem, no problem. Play with it, you'll figure things out. What else do you guys ask about? If we all stay home, they'll give us what happens if school does get canceled. Yeah, Kim, man, I don't know. Like, I'm seriously not sure. We'll figure something out. Maybe you'll have your prom in August. I mean, you hear colleges already are talking about remote graduations, so I think it's kind of sad. Like, I think graduation's really cool, but we'll see what happens. I'm not really kind of convinced of anything at this point. We'll see what's going on. Play it by ear. How are we going to graduate? Well, I mean, Catherine, graduation is just really just a ceremony. They can send you the diploma in the mail. What they might just do is like a live stream of some people giving speeches. I don't even know. I don't know what graduation would look like. Like, it's really just a ceremony where you get your diploma. They don't need a ceremony to give you your diploma. So, again, I'm totally hypothesizing here. I have no clue. I'm guessing we'll still have graduation. Like, I think things will be fine. Graduation's like 2.5 months away. So I would be surprised if, like, we were still having issues in our community at this time. One of the good things about living in California is apparently the virus doesn't do well above like 81, 82 degrees. So, like, when the weather gets hotter in mid-May, it'll make transmission more difficult. Things should calm down a little bit. Yeah, I'm sure they would give you your money back for the cap and gown. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just like how, you know, show choir and band got their money back for their trips, right? I hope. I mean, the good news, right, is you're still gonna go to college, right? That's the big fun part. We're working on it. Haven't gotten it back yet. Sorry, Dana. If you don't get it back, just sue Mr. Bailey or something. I'm sure you'll get the money back. They have to go through they have to go through the competition. They have to go through the hospital or the hotel. They have to go through the airline company, whatever travel company you book through. There's just like a couple different things. So we'll see. Anyone inquired? Did that get moved? I mean, I'm sure it got canceled. Obviously, I know it's a district trip, so they canceled it. I mean, I'm still not optimistic. Like, I'm just looking at something on my Google News that movie theaters over the weekend still made $55 million, which means that there are still, like, I don't know, 5 million people, well, probably 4 million people who are dumb enough to go out to the movies right now. So, like, those people are just out there spreading disease and coughing all over the place. So, yeah, things are going to be problematic for a while. We'll figure it out. Let me see if anyone emailed in some questions. I have a specific question about 3A. Yeah, go ahead, Mia. Let me pull that up. Which part of 3A? What's your question about? Oh, also, don't worry. I know you're upset about you may have spent money on the band trips and all this stuff, like grad night and whatever. I promise, there's no way that you've lost more money than I have in the last 3 weeks. So, just something to keep in mind. This recession is just destroying me. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. So for the integral g of -2, yeah. So what you want to do on that is say, like, okay, when you plug in, this is 3A on the 2012. When you find g of -2, that is integral 1 to -2 of f of t. So that's your top bound right there. So because the bounds are backwards, you actually have the bigger bound on the bottom. You want to switch it and make it negative. So switch this to be negative integral -2 to 1 of f of t. So that way, when you think about this as an area, and you find this area by thinking about like the triangles or whatever, you just find that area and then multiply that area by whatever the negative is. Yeah, you do need to change the bounds there. That's how I do it, but that's probably how you want to consider it. No problem. Any other questions? Mindless speculation? Things you guys are curious about? Anything I can help with? How do I fix a null pointer? So Grace, you have to figure out what's null. You have to figure out what line is null, and then figure out, like are you trying to call, if it's on gur.get something, if this is the error that's having a null pointer error, maybe maybe the grid is null. If you're calling, so for example, say you have like, I don't know, say you say this is an actor though. Say you say, actor A equals whatever, and then you do a.method. When you do something like this, if this is the error, if this is the line that gives you a null pointer, then what you need to do is probably A is null. So whatever line you have the null pointer on, check to see like what is the object. Because anytime you have a null pointer, it's when you're calling a method on an object which is null. So what you can do to kind of test, if you're having trouble figuring out what's null, is right before this line, you could just print out different variables. So system.out.println, system.out.println A. And if A is null, it'll literally print out the word null, and that'll tell you what the issue is. That's kind of the troubleshooting you should do. You're all gonna get a lot of null pointer errors and issues with that and runtime problems, and just try and trace them out and figure out that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, if you're really stuck on an error, you can send me your code and just tell me like what's happening. But I think it'll help you figure out what's going on too. Yeah. So a lot of your statements are going to look something like this. If you set up an actor, it'll be like, if A does not equal null, this is the way to fix it. If A does not equal null, then you do A dot whatever the method call is. But you want to make sure that it's not null before you like try calling a method on it, basically. Okay. Other questions, guys? Things I can help with? Any other problems for now? When Gridroll gives errors, it writes a whole paragraph. Yeah. Just scroll all the way up to the top, and all the way up at the top, it'll tell you what line it's on. Just look at like the very top one. That basically tells you what the issue is. What folder should you put the GIF files in? Literally the same folder where you save everything. So wherever you're saving all your files, so you should have obviously like make a new file, a new folder called like Final Project, right? And inside this Final Project, that's where like you're saving your code. So you have your package in here, and then you have like the package dot whatever, and then you have like 1.java, for instance. Well, then right next to it, no semicolon, right next to it is where you put your GIF. So call it 1.gif, and it's the exact same name. Yeah. 3B Sphinx. Let me take a look at that. Yeah. So on 3B here, this is back in calc. Does that make sense, JDog? Just wherever you save your thing? Okay, good. So 3b, you have this graph of f again, and they tell you g is integral 1 to x of f of t dt. And the problem asks you about g prime and g double prime. So when you take g prime of x, you're just taking like the derivative of the integrals, those cancel. So g prime of x is just f of x. So if you want to find g prime of 2, that's just f of 2, and f of 2 is just the height of the graph. It's the height of f graph at x equals 2. And then if you go one step further, g double prime of x is equal to f prime. So you should interpret that as like the slope of f. And you'll do like a rise over run to calculate that. What's negative 3? Oh, I see. Got it. Yeah. Good catch. But yeah, I got confused because the height is 2. Okay, that's my bad. I'll give you more extra credit. Mia, you're friggin' racking it up for period 4. Love it. Good job. Oh, hold on. Someone want to listen to some Rush today, so we'll put some Rush on the tunes. I don't know if this is actually the best off hours music, but we'll check it out. Any other questions, guys? Things I can help with? Best Rush song. I think Working Man's pretty good. I do like Working Man. Let me check and see if I'm missing anything. But I'm probably going to go with Working Man. Yeah, I mean, Tom Sawyer's a classic, obviously, but I think Working Man, I'm going to go with that as my favorite. I'm not like a huge Rush fan. They're fine, like I like them, but if you want to talk about Rush, you got to talk to Mr. Ishimoto. That dude loves Rush. Loves it. I mean, just in general, he loves 80s music. Back in his glory days. I can just picture Mr. Ishimoto riding around in a Corvette, just jamming out to Rush and Motley Crue and all that stuff. The windows down. Probably had a mullet. Any other questions you guys have? Things I can help with right now? Other problems? Anything you want to complain about? Like, I just be really curious to hear kind of how this is going for you guys, like as students, the whole distance learning. Because I feel like as a teacher, it's so much different, right? It feels like I'm at home, so it should be a weekend, but I feel like I'm putting in almost as much work as I do on a normal school day, with all the office hours, answering emails, making these videos, and whatever. Yeah, like I'd love to see the student perspective. I'm glad I don't have to share the computer with my kid or something. It'd be a real pain in the butt. It reminds me, I just leaned over. I was watching some stream like a couple weeks ago, and some dude was like sitting in his chair, and he just like, I don't remember, he leaned forward or something, and then he like fell out of the chair on the street. It was, oh man, it was really fast. So he just like disappeared and flopped down. It was good. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. I mean, it's so different, right? You're like in this home mood, so it's hard to kind of realize that you're still technically supposed to be like in school. I agree. I go in spurts. Like this morning I was super motivated. I got a ton of stuff done this morning, but like yesterday afternoon I was dragging. I was just having trouble. I kept getting distracted. Just want to like go on Reddit or Facebook or something instead of like actually just narrowing down and working. Yeah. So I think the thing to consider is that like it's it's probably less work when you add in the like, you know, the 6 hours you spend at school every day, right? Because like maybe before you had 2 hours of homework a night and now you have 4. So good job, Grace. Proud of you. So, you know, having like 6 hours at school and 2 hours of homework, now you have say like 4 hours of homework, but you're actually spending like way less time on school overall. So that's funny, Grace. I'm glad you're bored though, and being productive. So that's exciting. Grace, how are the college apps coming? You heard back from anyone you're like excited to go to? You decided yet? But yeah, I mean, I agree, like, not having people around you to ask for help, like, sucks. I think I'm gonna go to Texas. Why Texas? Like, what made you choose Texas? Get rich off stipend money. I'm gonna be honest, it's not actually that much money, stipend money. To Arkansas. Oh, Adam, that's funny. Yeah, telling your parents you're bored is like definitely a dangerous thing. They always are gonna have a ton of chores for you to do. I'd rather stay until SCB until I died instead of in Arkansas. Oh man, yeah, I agree. Arkansas is like it's a bottom 5 state, and I can't even say anything good about Arkansas. Like I've never been there. I've never met anyone from there. It just seems bad. Like, you're not even by the ocean. Terrible state. Yes. Now, Mia, you gotta be careful with these stats, right? West Virginia doesn't have as much reported coronavirus as everyone else because they didn't test anyone for weeks. I bet they have just as much coronavirus as all the states around them. They just haven't tested anybody. That's really the U.S. problem. Like, you know, the number jumped past 10,000 today or yesterday or whatever. Like, I guarantee we have 100,000 cases. We just haven't tested people enough. Like, you know, supposedly there are only 3 cases in Santa Cruz. I'm sure there are 100 or 200 or 300 or 1,000 cases because we're not testing. And people are asymptomatic and still spreading. And yeah, I mean, this thing is all over the place. We just don't have the testing numbers. West Virginia also sucks. That's like a bottom 10, bottom 15 state. I've never been there, but I've had a couple friends say that it's like really bad. What are my bottom pies? Would more people be dying if there was a bunch more cases? So, Grace, one of the interesting things is like we are kind of only testing the people who are sick, which is why the mortality rate is so high in our country. Because like we have this mortality rate of like it was 4% for a while, and now it's lower, which is higher than the rest of the world because we're only testing the people who are sick. It looks like the true mortality case of the virus is somewhere from 1 to 3%, but like in Italy and the US, it appears higher because we're not testing people who are just like sick with flu-like symptoms, basically. Okay, I did actually rank the states last year. Let me go ahead and pull up my ranking system here. Let me see if you guys can see this. Okay. Alright, so I put it on Twitter. I wonder if I can like search my posts on this. Oh, this is gonna take a little while. Oh, never mind. Here we go. Good. Okay. So here's my rankings of everything. So we can take a look. You can see we're in a pretty good spot here. And they can just swab your mouth. I do not want to get tested. Yeah, they have a mouth swab now, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Okay. Okay, so here's my list of states. Feel free to have some. You can see Arkansas there in 47th. It's not a high-ranked state. How about that? Yeah, the original test was the nose swab, well, in our country at least, but the mouth swab, I think, gets results in like 10 minutes or something, too. It's pretty good. Any issues with the state list? Colorado, definitely pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, like, anything in the top 10 is a pretty good state, I think. Arizona might actually be better than Rhode Island, but there are some pretty crappy parts of Arizona. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, I made this list like a year and a half ago too, but I don't really see any like large problems with it. Why is Idaho ranked so high? Idaho's beautiful. The mountains and the lakes and the ski resorts, very, very pretty. They have nice scenery. They have a lot of nice national parks. Grace, have you ever been to New Mexico? It's well, first off, it's a beautiful state. Again, there is terrific scenery. The mountains, the weather there is actually pretty nice. New Mexico has great food. It just has this cool, like, unique culture that's like, you know, the food there, of course, is based on Mexican food. But no, it's a great state. It's pretty cool. I love the culture in Albuquerque. People there were very nice and friendly. It's pretty easy to get around. Yeah, the food was great. They have a lot of like unique things. They filmed Breaking Bad there, which is the greatest TV show of all time. So, if you spend some time in New Mexico, I was really impressed. I spent like a week in Albuquerque for a conference a few years ago. I really liked it. Really liked it. Pretty cool place. Utah should be lower. The people are annoying. Yeah, I mean, like, 17 is not actually that high of a rank. If you look, like, pretty much everything under 30 is like terrible. Yeah, Utah has a couple things going for it. Like, the people may be annoying, but they're actually pretty nice. There's low crime. There's low poverty in the state. They have, like, relatively few drug issues. Again, it's a pretty state. A lot of mountains and snow-capped peaks. Yeah. No, Wyoming sucks. Wyoming is flat. Like, I guess there's some scenery, but the majority of Wyoming is just complete garbage. Wyoming also has more cows than people. So I don't, like, it doesn't have much going for it. Dick Cheney's from there, like he shot his friend in the face. It's not a great state. It's really not. I mean, it's not terrible, right? It's at 34. Could be a lot worse, but it's whatever. There's like a really high use of. Yeah, Yellowstone's nice. I'll give you that. It's a square. It's a square, Grace, or a rectangle. Mia, I hate to tell you, there's a really high use of antidepressants in pretty much every state in the country. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Why is South Dakota better than North Dakota? Isn't Mount Rushmore in South Dakota? No, North Dakota's like a wasteland. No one lives there. Yeah, Mount Rushmore's in South Dakota. South Dakota also has more people than North Dakota, and by being southern, it's slightly better weather, I guess. What is my favorite shape? Circle. Circle. Least favorite shape. I don't even know. I'm not. Where would DC rank? Oh man, I'm not really a fan of DC, but they have like the Smithsonian's gotta be pretty good. Where would I put DC? Better Nevada for sure. Yeah, DC's middle of the pack. Probably put it somewhere in the 20s. That's a good question. But I mean, trust me, Mia. The bottom 5 states are so unbelievably atrocious. Florida's not worth ranking below. I've been to Florida. It's terrible. The weather sucks. It's hot. The people are mean. It's like there's nothing good about Florida. But at least they have nice beaches, and at least they have nice golf courses, and they have some theme parks. Like Mississippi and Alabama have nothing going for them. Florida has less crime, less poverty, less idiots than those states. They have better education. Like Alabama and Mississippi are literally like third world countries in terms of their education and their medical systems. And Florida's at least a little better. And there are a lot of old people, but Florida's bad. Tom Brady is now in Florida. That's true. We'll see. Florida is gross. You ever been to Alabama? Mississippi? I promise they're worse. More racist, too. and split it up. So split this up and say, okay, if I go integral -6 to 5 of f, that's the same as going -6 to -2 of f plus the integral -2 to 5 of f. And I'm splitting up at -2 because that's kind of the point they gave us, which is in the middle here. Okay, so integral -6 to 5 of f is 7. So it's saying 7 equals the integral we're trying to find plus the integral from -2 to 5. Okay. So what that... Oh, my internet sucks again. Good. Good. Okay. So what this looks like when I'm finding this area, I have to find like this triangle up above. And this triangle up above is 1/2 times 1 times 1. This triangle down below, so which should be negative, has a base of, it looks like 1.5, so a base of 3/2 and a height of -1. So that's like a -3/4. And then the part above, I'd split it up into two different bits here. That triangle has a base of 3/2 and a height of 3, so that would be 9/4. And then I just need to figure out, like, what is this area down in here under this circle? And it tells you it's a quarter circle. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let's hope it's not the corona. So the way I'm going to find that green area is I'm going to find the area of the whole circle, and I'm going to subtract, or sorry, the whole square, and I'm going to subtract that quarter circle. So when I do that, the whole square is 9, and I'm subtracting a quarter of pi times, and it looks like it has a radius of 3, right? If you go down 3 or over 3, pi times 3 squared. So that's how you find that little green area in there, just subtracting off. So that's the 9 minus 9 pi over 4. So that's like where it comes from. And just break it up into parts, and like, for example, that this intersection point, or the x-intercept there, is x equals 1/2 because it's a straight line. So if it goes from, like if you have this graph here that starts at 0, -1, and then it goes up to 1, 1, like the halfway point in between has to be 1/2, 0, because it's on a straight line, and that's how lines work. Okay. Yeah, Kat, so here's how L'Hopital's rule works. L'Hopital's rule, which we haven't done in a while, says this. L'Hopital's rule happens, it says that if you have a limit, if you're taking the limit as x goes to some number, let's say 2, of, say, f of x over g of x. Oh, no problem, Dan. If you have some limit, and the top limit, so the top limit of f of x equals 0, and the bottom limit, x goes to 2, of g of x equals 0, it's saying this limit equals the limit x goes to 2 of f prime of x over g prime of x. So it's just saying you need to take the derivative on top, you need to take the derivative on bottom individually, and then plug in. So for an example, if I ask you for, like, what is the limit x goes to 0 of, say, sine of x over 3x? Like, if you look at the top, you take that limit there, x goes to 0 of sine x, you get sine of 0, which is 0. If you take the bottom limit, and you want to do these individually, x goes to 0 of 3x, you also get 0. So what that means is, by L'Hopital, this limit is equivalent to just taking the derivative on top and bottom and saying, I'm taking the limit x goes to 0. It's not the quotient rule. Derivative on top is cosine x, the derivative on bottom is 3. So anyway, you get cosine 0 over 3, which is 1/3. So that's like a good example of L'Hopital's rule. It's just if you have a situation where you have, like, you plug into a limit and you get a 0 on top and you get a 0 on the bottom, that's when you apply L'Hopital's rule. That makes sense. So on 6C, the key is, if you're doing L'Hopital's rule, you know that the bottom limit has to equal 0, so that's how you'll be able to find that f of x there.